Welcome back to Breaking Fallout. In our last episode, I showed how to do the infinite money glitch and kind of gave a showcase of how this build works with the shredding minigun. But I had completely forgotten one of the main aspects of this build, and I apologize. I know I keep promising to move on to the next build, but I'm just a little overexcited because I got my mods working again. So spoiler alert, I'm going to do it as a modded build just because I've said before, the new build is more broken in mechanics than it is in anything else, so we're going to use mods to break it further. I'm going to give a list of the mods I like to use that turn you from just a wasteland survivor into a deity, pretty much. But one of the main aspects of... Why do I still have another... Oh, because it's glitched. Yeah, we never put the fusion core in the power armor. But I had left Preston and the gang back at the Museum of Freedom. I shouldn't have. Honestly, I should have set up the settlements. But that's what we're doing now. This is going to be pretty much settlement building video just to show how it's done. I've already shown you how to exploit the materials and whatnot. So let's just go back in here and talk to Preston. Now the main reason I wanted to do this is because our next build does not have charisma. It is a charisma of 3, just because it is a lone wanderer build instead of being a companion-based build. So because we have a charisma of a level 6 or better, we can create supply lines between settlements and make shops and crafting stations. So that's what we're going to do. Again, we're just playing the nice guy to get through stuff quickly. But this small group of settlers are going to go back to Sanctuary and turn it into a home. So she also gives you the location on your map for Diamond City if you have not been there yet, which I have not. It gives you the mission to go there. But for right now, once that conversation is over, you can leave, and then this group will start heading to Sanctuary. Now, there are several different places you can turn into settlements nearby Lexington. One of them will be pointed out by Preston Garvey if you do the Minuteman missions. It's the Starlight Drive-In. I don't think we have it on the compass, but it's a little bit past the Drumlin Diner. The Red Rocket that is next to Sanctuary, that is also capable of becoming a settlement. Now, the AI for these guys is not the best. Preston usually gets there easily. It's everybody else that takes their time and walks weird, and I don't know why they do this. Yeah.
Right behind you, boss.
There we go. Thank you. Okay. I just wanted to make sure they start heading in that direction. You can fast travel if you want, but most of the time you will actually beat them there. Not to mention, I'm not sure if any threats have respawned, because Preston is the only one that has a decent weapon and a laser musket. Everybody else has pipe pistols. And when you get your settlement set up, you can change their equipment. You can give them the stuff that you pick up or create. But not every piece of equipment is made for everyone. Don't give Mama Murphy a minigun. Yes, she can use it, but it's not the best thing for her. See? I knew it. There was going to be some threat. I really don't need those. But we're just going to give them some time to make it up here to Sanctuary. Now, once you talk to Preston, once he reaches Sanctuary, that is, He's going to give you a mission to start working for the Minutemen and go help another settlement out with a problem they have. Usually he will send you to Ten Pines Bluff, and then they will send you to the Corvega plant, which we cleaned out the outside, but we need to take out the leader on the inside, which is the idea. And we are way too over-leveled and over-equipped to handle that. That's not a criticism, that's just a statement. Like, it's... yeah. So, we had taken the time early on to scavenge everything. I mean, we broke it all down. I'm not even sure if I saved myself a few pieces of furniture that are kind of essential. I say kind of essential. I did save them. So, no, I only saved chairs, but we only need a few. So, let's actually get out of the power armor to save our core. I don't think I need repairs right now. Nope. Alright. Now, doing the Minuteman stuff off the bat is a good way to earn caps, as well as... oh, I did set this all up. As well as gaining experience and cleaning out areas, because they will send you to take out super mutants, raiders, anything like that in the area. So it helps you to explore in the early game. It helps with caps, as I had said. Alright, so now everybody is close to Sanctuary, so you can see now we have 5 settlers up there in the top left corner. Now what I'm doing here is when you have settlers that are working, eventually they're going to want to take a break, which is fair, and they are going to want to sit down somewhere. So I made it to where the relaxation is all in the same spot. I'm also going to be putting beds in here. Speaking of which, someone already took this one, so we're going to place it somewhere else that we are going to be putting other beds, because settlers need a place to rest, not just to sit down but also to go to sleep. What's the problem? Oh, and I think it's a squeeze, isn't it? If ever you can't seem to get what you want, place it first and then try to put it in. Yeah, that's not gonna fit. And then try to put it in. You're never gonna get things precisely as you want them. There are mods for that. My wife is in love with them, because she's more about the settlement building than anything else. Because I just try to make it functional. She makes it pretty. So, you know, that's how it is. People have different play styles. Can't knock it. So, once we have enough beds placed, I like to put a few extra, because where's my bed? Where's Kate's bed? Eventually, if we can get her all the way up and then make her our romantic partner, then you can actually share the same bed and get a perk from it, which gives you more EXP gained for some time. But I like to put extra beds for several reasons. One, you need a bed for yourself and a bed for your follower, but also, since we had set up trade with Carla in case she needs a place to rest, eventually we're going to be having traders coming from other settlements. They're going to need places to rest. Now, yeah, Preston is going to walk the perimeter. Like, literally, he will walk down the water line and then back up Main Street here. Everyone else is just going to come in and they'll start working on this shack. It's one of the reasons I make this shack the home. So, other things we are going to need. I had stashed some fresh food earlier on, and we probably are going to need more. Maybe not. So all food except for the mute fruit. I didn't need that. We'll keep it anyway. They give 0.5 food, but the mute fruit gives 1 food solid. Wrong house. Speaking of which, the house with the cellar and the wild mute fruit that we can't use, there are gourd plants out back here. I was hoping they had regenerated. But they are just outside of the bounds of Sanctuary, just to show. Yeah, and they're over there next to Kate. So they are harvestable the first time, and then after, I'm not even sure how many days in-game they can regenerate. But we've got their bed set up, and now that we've taken the food out of inventory, go here to resources and go to food. And now you can set it up anywhere that you want. I just like, again, putting it near the where they're staying. I have a lot of corn. I was holding a lot. That's cool. Alright, so with that being the case, we have one of those. Yeah, 7 of these. Now, if you were to talk to Preston after they all come here again, he's going to give us a mission for the Minutemen. But he's also going to tell you to talk to Sturgis to begin setting up the settlement here. I'm going to avoid the gourd and the melon just because they take up a lot of space. So we are just doing what Sturgis is going to ask us to do before he asks us. That way, when we do begin talking to him, we can just keep talking to him and getting all of the different areas of the mission over with and get it done pretty much in one foul swoop of a conversation. At least that's the idea. But all you need to do is cover base needs for the settlement. So you can see we have 5 people. That means I need at least 5 food, at least 5 water, stuff like that. Alright, now I need to do some counting, because again, all this counts for 5, and a settler can do 6 in food. So wait, that's 4, 6, 8. That's 15, so 15 plus 8 is 23, 24. That should be just enough right there. So while you're in the build menu, you can command somebody and then tell them to cover 1 piece of food. They will then grow from that piece of food and start taking care of things that are like or nearby. And again, you see he fills up 6. So now let's grab somebody else. June. We'll find something that he is not covering in his 6, like the corn. So now June is taking care of 6 worth of corn. Is anybody asleep? Not yet. There's Mama Murphy. But that's another reason I made the lounge area all in the same place. Okay, he has all of this. Wow. I made that exactly. Okay, so cancel that. So now I need all but 1 of these, and that should cover everybody. But mut fruit is the best thing to do if you're just trying to quickly expand the food in a settlement, because again, it produces 1 food instead of producing a half. 2 more, technically. So we can keep that one for ourselves. Alright, Mama, are you still here? But I like to have everybody set up on food. You can have people set up on food, on miscellaneous junk collecting, which there's a station for that. Or you can have them on defense, which you can set up guard posts, but they can only add like 6 defense. And with the right turrets, you can get more defense and place them where you want them at a heightened elevation, which tactically that is, you know, just so much better. It'll be over Anakin because you have the high ground. So, 24 food, which is pretty fantastic. Now, one of the good things about Sanctuary as a settlement is it has a big section for water. So if you wanted to have this be a purified water stop, I turned this into a distribution center. Not only for purified water, but I like to have a full mall of shops, all 7 of them eventually, things of that nature. So we're going to have way too much water, so that will help with the trading. Not to mention all of my provisioners from other settlements will connect to here, just because this is where all of the excess scrap and whatnot I have is stored up. Now, when you are at a settlement, you can use the junk resources that you have for building in the other settlement, but you don't actually have direct access to them. If you were running low on something and you wanted to dupe it, you would have to come back here to Sanctuary. If you're really wanting to do the settlement building, I would suggest duping a lot more of your resources before you actually leave, for that very reason. Now, I like to set up the heavy machine gun turrets, but if you actually want to put up the power requirements, then you can have a lot better defense in heavy laser turrets and missile turrets. But I just don't like having a bunch of generators running everywhere or watching a bunch of ugly windmills. Not my thing. So what we're going to do instead, first I'm going to build a structure. I'm going to build some wooden stairs. Because if you can get these right, then you basically have a ladder to the roof here. I mean, I still would have to jump. I think from another side of the house, it works better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. I think I still need to jump. But we just want something that we can get up to the roof here. Because again, these things have a fantastic range. So if you give them a better range of view, then they can begin firing on the enemy a lot sooner. And these heavy turrets are actually explosive ammo. So you really don't want the settlers nearby when they're going off. I'm going to put one at the halfway point. So if you give them better range to start firing before the settlers can get there, oh, come on now, then the better chance you have of these taking care of the problem exclusively. Oh, what's your problem, you big whiny puppy? Dog's throwing a fit. A roof. The door's open if you need to go, sir. We'll go up in a minute. I know, I'm hungry. Alright, So we have way too much defense. The way that I like to do settlement defense is add up the total of your food, water, and power, and be a greater defense than that. So in this case, we have 71 in that total. So having 88 will deter most bandits from attacking you. They don't count it as worth it because we have more defense than we have supplies. Super mutants don't really care and will show up, but if you leave something undefended, it will create a mission for you to defend it. So we're pretty much just avoiding that mission, so we deal more with kidnappings and, hey, there are local bad guys, can you go take care of them? So now, excuse me, now that we've gotten beds, food, water, even a little bit of power, if you want to set up power, then settlers like it if you have lights in the places that they rest and sleep. So we could put lights in this house instead of just these candles. They like that. They like if you add music, for example, radios or jukeboxes. Jukeboxes do even more happiness. Having a dog. Dog meat does not count, but if we can find a dog for the settlement, it'll add 5 defense and raise the happiness. Having shops up and running. Except for weapons and armor, those two do not add happiness, but the clinic, the clothing, the trader, and the bar especially. But we will get to that shortly. Now, I do need to set up some power here, now that I'm thinking about it. Because we need a recruitment beacon. And then eventually we can expand upon that. But we just need something low in power, and I like the way that the windmills look. It just doesn't make sense. We'd have to go find fuel for the generator. Even though this doesn't give off much power, it just fits. I'm gonna need some connectors, that way we can put lights all throughout the house, because these connectors give a small aura when they're connected with power that can help to fuel lights and other appliances in your house. That should be enough. I think they're too far apart, though. So, connect these. I think that was quite the oversight, making the jump and the attach button the same. Okay, so you're too far out. That's okay. So we're going to attach the wire, and then we're going to see how far out we can actually bring the wire. So yeah, it was pretty much the same spot. So, now that we have those, if we go here to lights, I'm a fan of throwing up the ceiling fans, just because it makes sense. You know, there's no cooling or heating, so having something in the ceiling fans, they don't do much for light, but for comfort, it just makes sense. But this is pretty much me testing how good my power is. Yeah, that doesn't make sense in there. So we're going to put a few wall hangers here. Because they're better illumination. And there's the gap you can see. That one does not light up. So I'm going to need another connector, just to add a little more radius over here. So what we could do is just put one directly beneath. That should work to also give us, come on now, that should also work to give us light here in the workshop. So that being said, let's try one of these new lights that came from the Creation Club. That's pretty good illumination. puts it up towards the ceiling, though. I don't like it. So yeah, back to the ceiling fans. Even though outside that doesn't make much sense, but it is what it is. Now be careful. They can smack into things, which will slow them down. Yep. So see over there, I'm hitting the power armor station. So if you put these things too close to each other, they'll smack into each other. As funny as it is, it's still kind of annoying. But you really don't need to have these many. I just like the illumination. And that one didn't even get lit up. That was the whole purpose. Okay, so what if we did this? Connector here. Is that too far out? Yes. Now I don't think it specifically needs to be this type of connector, but as a matter of fact, let me store that, test that theory. Let's put a power pylon here. See if that will actually do the same thing. It did. Good to know. So now let's head back down. And again, all this is raising the happiness of our dwellers. Because now they have some light. And you can see it just says that it requires power. That means it's not draining from ceiling fan on a ceiling fan. Because you can't delete the old one. Quite an oversight. But I'm at least going to try and center it. Wait, will it hit it if it does that? Okay, good enough. Alright, so also we're going to go to decorations, miscellaneous, and we are looking for the jukebox, which we are going to stick here in the corner. And since it has power, can I catty corner that? No, it does not want me to. Come on. That is the closest to the corner you're going to allow me to get. And it's backwards. Okay. Well, here's what we're going to do then. I'm just going to place this thing here. Come on. I'm going to put a chair in front of it. Will it fit that way? Because I just want to be able to have it accessible to a follower or a settler, just so they can sit down in it still. Which you can test it out with yourself, but having music nearby always helps to raise the happiness a little bit. Now, you can see this has a number next to the power requirement, meaning that it is draining 2 power. So I have 1 power left, technically, even with all those lights up. Hey, Carla. And the reason we need that 1 extra power is because we're going to go here 2 power and miscellaneous. And we're going to go ahead and put up a recruitment radio beacon. And then connect that to the grid. Now when you see this lit up, little green lights on, you can see we have 5 dwellers right now, 5 people. In a little bit of time, we may have 6 or 7, and the longer you go and the higher your charisma, the more people you will attract. Because right now, if you want to go to your radio, there should be a settlement recruitment beacon. You can even listen to it. which is just your character calling out to people saying, hey, come to Sanctuary, or wherever you happen to be recruiting for. Excuse me. Allergies are terrible today. But since we've gotten all of that finished for ourselves, let's go ahead and talk to Preston. Yeah, so you can hear in the background now the recruitment beacon you've got. Fun fact, the higher your charisma, the better it sounds. You will stumble over your words if you have a low charisma. Alright, we got that idiot savant to go off on the completion of a quest, which just gives us a ton of EXP, which is always useful. So now that we have talked to Preston and he has given us the first step, we can also go down here to miscellaneous and talk to Sturgis, which is what we want to do. And he is off over here, probably sleeping right now, which is not the best, because he'll keep trying to go to sleep while we keep talking to him, and this might be annoying. But I don't need to trade right now, Carla. Take a nap if you'd like. So let's talk to Sturgis. Yeah, so if we let him get back into bed, we have to sit here and watch this animation every single time. Yeah.
Sturgis.
So yeah, now we just do all these little snippets of conversation all at once.
I'll start planting right away.
Good deal. This place is starting to feel like home.
All right.
So now he's asking for the defenses
Sturgis.
and everything all done. And that gives us a little more EXP. Now, an important fact I might have forgotten. For the beds to count, they have to be under a covered roof. So, you can't just have beds out in the middle of the, you know... Like, if I had just put the beds out here in the rain, would not work. Hey! And now we have settlers. So, to demonstrate the other jobs that they can do, we're going to set up a few guard posts. We're going to put one here. We're going to put one here. And then finally we will put one down over here. Now we shouldn't need these, to be completely honest, just because we have plenty of defense. But a settler with no job is an unhappy settler. So we're going to command our new ghoul friend here to go on guard, and that gives us a +6 because she can handle 3 of these guard towers. Now our other friend, who is going to sleep here, we are going to set him up in a junk station. So, scavenging station. You want the side with the tall piece of sheet metal to be facing outward, because that's where they're going to be working from. But go ahead and place that. I like to use these as an in-between if someone is going to have a job in the future, like a courier. Then I'm just going to put them on junk for now, because this is going to add random pieces of junk to your inventory in the settlement. Mama, are you strung out? But now he is scavenging, which means he will also walk around looking for, you know, screws and steel, aluminum, and it'll just slowly accumulate in your workstation. But excuse me, other than that, the only other thing you can do is, you see here at the bottom it says to press R1 for supply line. That will allow me to send someone to the Red Rocket, since we do own that, even though it is not set up for anything right now. Fun fact, if you are not a fan of using Codsworth as a follower, the only job that he really can have is a provisioner. So where is that robot friend of mine? I do not see him. He's usually just hanging out right in front of the house. But now that we've gotten the settlers here, he starts to roam around through the houses and whatnot. But let me just demonstrate this real quick. I know this video is dragging on and is quite boring, but this is an essential part of the game, especially if you're trying to finish the Minutemen quests, because you're going to have at least, I think, 3 settlements done for Preston to give you the castle mission, and then you're going to need at least, I think it's like 8 settlements done to complete the castle mission. But yeah, since we had interacted with the Red Rocket here, meaning we, I think we used the chemistry station, but using any of the stations is what's going to give you access. So if you see here in our junk, besides that ton of copper we had done to level ourselves and can continue to level ourselves, we don't have access to much. We can't build certain things. So, for example, I know we can't build because our limit is exceeded due to the statues. So I'm actually going to scrap a statue and give us a little bit of building room. But as you can see here, I can build things like a bed, but had I already built a bed here? It says there's a bed here. Where is there a bed here? Well, that's useful. And of course, there's always the junk around. Oh, there it is. So I had built a bed here. But say, for example, we wanted to build another crafting station. Yeah, see, we can't build the armor because we don't have the gears and the springs and the screws and the aluminum. We got none of that. And sure, we could scrap everything around to find it and get it, but that is not what we're doing here. Now, I'm going to... do I have any of those? Yeah. We're going to pop a Mentat, because that should help me find Codsworth. Now, normally, as a provisioner, I send Codsworth to places that do not have settlers that are willing to travel. So, for example, excuse me, there is a farm right over here, the Finch farm. Is that the Finch farm? No, that's the Abernathy farm. So, none of the Abernathys that live there are willing to leave their homestead, which is fair. I get it. So, that's one I will send Codsworth to. Same thing with, Somerville Place. Because there's only one adult there, the rest are children, and he's not going to leave his kids. Fair enough. So there are very selective ones. But most settlements will have settlers that are willing to travel here to Sanctuary to share the bounty of goods you have. So we're going to our one supply line and send him to the Red Rocket. Now, one of the reasons I'm okay with doing this is A, I'm demonstrating how to share resources, and B, he's just going to travel between here and the Red Rocket. It's easy for me to still find him in case I want to have him as a follower. But now let's run back over here. And again, like I said earlier, This does not put the materials from that workshop into this workshop. That is not how this works. It's just going to allow you access for use of those goods. So again, we're going to come here, and you can see that we don't have much when it comes to the junk, and we didn't have enough to craft an extra armor workbench, but there you go. You can see now we can build with the supplies we have back at Sanctuary. So that being said, it is a very good idea for you to get as much as you can resource-wise, have thousands of it. That way you will have enough wiggle room to build in the new settlements. Well, speaking of which, I'm not going to do anything here because we don't have any settlers to take care of. And you can also see now that he is traveling provisioner. He has his own pack Brahmin. Don't know where he got that from because we didn't supply it. But everybody who's a provisioner gets a pack Brahmin. It actually gets rather hectic because, again, I send someone from every settlement here to Sanctuary so they can share in the materials we have. Not to mention, with a central hub that everyone travels to, anyone who has extra food or water can trade extra food and water here at Sanctuary. So places that don't have good water, you can still be fine as long as someone is a provisioner and bringing the goods. So, yeah, that's settlement building in a nutshell. Excuse me, I'm going to, in the next episode, show how to expand upon that by doing the first Minuteman mission and explain exactly what I'm saying with these provisioners and whatnot. But hopefully you found this somewhat entertaining, even though it was incredibly informative, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Peace.